So I'm a dad, all right? I don't know a lot of things that the young kids are talking about, and that includes a fella by the name of Andrew Tate. I saw that he just become a Muslim, and so in this video, I want Thomas Aquinas to educate Andrew Tate about Muhammad, in case he's interested. And the reason for this is that I just saw a video of him on One Islam Productions, in which he explains why he has converted to Islam. Now, believe it or not, I know nothing about the, well, that's not true. Let's say true things. I know some things about the man, but they are very minimal. I know his name's Andrew. I know he's got a bald head, likes to wear the sunglasses. I know he was a kickboxer. I know he was kicked off YouTube and maybe other platforms for something. I don't actually know. I actually have no idea. It might seem like I'm pretending to know less about him than I do. I'm being honest. So I actually pulled him up on Wikipedia here. So let's have a look here. Emery. Did you know that was his first name? I just learnt it. Emery Andrew Tate III. Gosh, that's cool. Was born, 1986. American-British. Internet personality. Who isn't? And former professional kickboxer. Good on him. Following kickboxing career, Tate began offering paid courses and memberships through his website, later rose to fame as an online influencer. I'm just not sure what an online influencer means. Am I one? I don't mean to be. Well, do I? Different video. Point is, Tate's misogynistic commentary on social media has resulted in his bans from several platforms. Now, I don't know, was he actually being misogynistic? Or is that just the internet's interpretation, Google's interpretation? I actually don't know. Feel free to educate me in the comments below, and I'll make an exception and I'll promise to read them. All I'm interested in doing is having Thomas Aquinas respond to Andrew Tate. Andrew's reason that he gave in this one video that I saw of him, at least the first reason, the primary reason, seems to be Christians aren't serious about Christianity. Look at how they live. Whereas the Muslims he's encountered seem very faithful to Islam. They seem serious about it. And fair enough. I think the best argument against Christianity is Christians. But I think that's probably true of most religions or all religions. Like if you know somebody and they're a scoundrel and they claim to be an adherent of this thing, which in part tells them how they should live, you become a little suspicious of that religion or that worldview. And that isn't nothing, but I think it's a better idea to look at the claims a particular religion is making and see if we have good reasons to think those claims are true. C.S. Lewis famously resurrected an argument from the Church Fathers, namely, if not God, then a bad man. All right? So you can't look at Christ and say, well, he's just a good person. No, he's claiming to be divine. He claims to have the power to forgive sins by his own authority. So he's either, since he claims to be God, he's either God, or otherwise, you've got two options. You've got, he's just bad. He's a bad person because he's lying about who he is. Or you could say he's crazy. Or you might even say he's demon-possessed. Another option could be that the Bible is just a legend. But if you take the Bible as basically reliable, then you've got to say, okay, he's God, he's a liar, or he's a lunatic. And we can use this filter to assess other religious figures, like Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, or Muhammad. Now, Muhammad claims at around the age of 40 that he received a revelation from the angel Gabriel, that the Quran was dictated to him. I think we can say the same thing. We can say, okay, well, either he's lying, or he's insane, or he's demon-possessed, or he is indeed a prophet of God. Since I do not think he's a prophet of God, and no Christian, no matter how nice you're trying to be, can claim that Muhammad is a prophet of God. So you have to say he's either a liar, he's mad, or he's demon-possessed. I think those are your options. What do you think? Here's what Thomas Aquinas says. Muhammad seduced the people by promises of carnal pleasure to which the concupiscence of the flesh goads us. His teaching also contained precepts that were in conformity with his promises, and he gave free rein to carnal pleasure. In all this, as is not expected, he was obeyed by carnal men. Now, the reason this is interesting is that one of the reasons Tate says he's a Muslim is he seems to be contrasting it with the hedonism of modern man and the delusions of the moral relativist who would say, you're wrong just for having standards. And we can agree with him on that account. But according to Aquinas, Muhammad was a carnal man. So this immorality that you're seeking to flee, according to Aquinas, was at least in part embodied by Muhammad. As for proofs of the truth of his doctrine, he brought forward only such as could be grasped by the natural ability of anyone with a very modest wisdom. Indeed, the truths that he taught, he mingled with many fables and with doctrines of the greatest falsity. He did not bring forth any signs produced in any supernatural way, which alone fittingly gives witness to divine inspiration. And that's something that Muslims will readily admit, that he didn't perform miracles. But if you look at the text of the Quran, it's very well written, it's very beautiful. That, as well as other things, could weigh in evidence of it, in fact, being divinely revealed. But okay, Aquinas isn't going to agree. If you're going to come to me and say that God is revealing something to you and he's calling you to do something momentous, that you are indeed a prophet of God, then you're going to need to bring forth signs produced in a supernatural way. Right? Because this alone, he says, are fitting to give witness to this divine inspiration. Of course, with Christ, we have miracles, we have his resurrection from the dead. With Muhammad, we don't have any such thing. He says, for a visible action that can be only divine reveals an invisibly inspired teacher of truth. Now, on the contrary, Muhammad said that he was sent in the power of his arms, which are signs not lacking even to robbers and tyrants. Not a fan of Muhammad was Thomas Aquinas. What is more, no wise men trained in things divine and human, believed in him from the beginning. Those who believed in him were brutal men and desert wanderers, utterly ignorant of all divine teaching, through whose numbers Muhammad forced others to become his followers by the violence of his arms. So just in case it's not clear, none of this is an indictment on our Muslim friends or co-workers. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that the average Muslim, the Muslim I know, that you know, is far more moral a man than Muhammad was. Nor do divine pronouncements, continues Aquinas, on the part of preceding prophets offer him any witness. So he's not the fulfillment of what the prophets spoke of. On the contrary, he perverts almost all the testimonies of the Old and New Testaments by making them into fabrications of his own, as can be seen by anyone who examines his law. It was therefore a shrewd decision on his part to forbid his followers to read the Old and New Testaments, lest these books convict him of falsity. It is thus clear that those who place any faith in his words believe foolishly. So says Thomas Aquinas. Love to hear your thoughts below. And Andrew, if you're watching, you seem, at least in that one video that I saw, to be someone who wants to hold to a faith with great seriousness and great rigor. And that's good. But we don't want to hold to a worldview or a religion that's false, even if it has truths contained in it, and even if it teaches truths, as Islam obviously does. Love to hear from you.